everyone. I wanted to go over my 2020 bullet journal setup. I know I'm already super late. It's already February or almost February, and but that's okay. I think it's worth sharing because everyone has a different planner system, and I love hearing about how everyone uses their bullet journals because everybody is so different. There are a lot of people who love to keep it really fancy, people who are minimalist. I'd like to say I'm somewhere in between. I'm pretty functional in my bullet journal. I use it to literally store my entire brain, so it's really important to me that this thing is organized and yeah, so I just wanted to share my system and how I use my bullet journal. The bullet journal that I'm using is a Filofax Notebook. And if you don't know, Filofax is one of the original founders of organizing in general, I think. They've been around for a really long time. They're mostly known for their leather-bound notebooks that are the binder clip system, the 6-ring system. But I have their notebook, which is also a removable, pages can be removed from this guy, which is really nice, but it doesn't have these like fat rings around them. So this guy I got from PlannerCon a few years ago, and I really love this guy, and clearly I love the marble situation here. So anyway, this is A5, and it's a kind of ring bound system, but it's not. So you can see here there are rings. And everything inside is removable. And so you can buy refills, and you can buy pre-made pages, or you can buy dot grids, and I really like the dot grid, so I just use that. It comes with a couple of dividers, and this first one has a pocket, and in here I like to put my rulers, and these are rulers from Ink by Jang. I probably have a couple more sliding in there. Yeah, so these are just my little icon and box rulers that I use from Ink by Jang. This one as well. And she is an Etsy shop that I love getting stuff from. I think right now she is taking care of her sweet little baby, so she hasn't been around a lot lately, but I still love and use her stuff all the time. In here I keep some functional stickers, so these are dots that I use for planning work. And these are little index tabs, and I like to keep those up at the front here. I like to keep everything in my bullet journal pretty minimal, so I don't really carry all my stickers with me in my bullet journal, but you'll see I do like to use stickers, but the things I carry around with me are pretty low-key. Next, the very first page and the first page of most bullet journals is this guy, the year at a glance. I like to have one page to do a year at a glance rather than have only a future log, and the reason for that is one, I like to have the weeks and look at the weeks on the sides of the, I like to keep track of the weeks. And then also I just like to see things big picture every once in a while, and so I find this page to be very useful when I'm planning big projects. So yeah. I used Ink by Jang stickers here, or I'm sorry, stamps here. I like to do that better than writing it in myself. I'm not a fan of how I write numbers. I know it's really weird, but it's like just numbers. I really don't like how I write, so I like using stamps for numbers. And this just gives it a really clean look. So that is my year at a glance. And then these are some October pages. I'm sorry, 2019 pages. And then we go into 2020. This is my future log. I like to have, actually I've done future logs so many times in so many different ways. And this year I tried to do it this way, which is a column for the future log and then a column for holidays and birthdays. Other years I've done like 3 columns where you have the dates at the top, or I'm sorry, the calendars at the top, and then you have like 1 through 30 and all that. And every year I don't like it. I don't find it super functional. But I did this maybe 4 years ago. I was like one of the first bullet journals that I ever had. I did it like this, and so I went back to this because I feel like it was really helpful. Like I really like having the holidays and birthdays in one column because that's never going to change. And so I like being able to copy that from one notebook to another. And then the future log, of course, is going to change. And this is for like big picture planning. This is for months in advance kind of planning. This isn't your everyday planning. So you're not going to see my appointments in here. You're not going to see like little things. It's more like things that I know a few weeks or months in advance. I like to jot down here. For example, like I know I'm going to Hawaii in April and I'm going to Spain and Ibiza in June. So I like to, make sure that those times are blocked out in my future log. My next page here is when did I last? And this is where I keep kind of the things that I would do on a regular basis. For example, like I get my eyebrows done, I get professional mani-pedis done every once in a while, my hair cut, professional lashes, Brazilian. At some point I was doing laser away, but I'm done now. So like these are just like the things that you'd like to kind of keep track of, that you do every couple of months or once a year, or rotate tires like every 3 months, 3 years, 5,000 miles, 6,000 miles. I don't even know. I clearly haven't done it in a while. So these are just, a few of the things that I like to keep track of, that I find this like one of the most helpful spreads in my entire planner, because I'm constantly thinking, when was the last time I changed my Brita filter? And I think it's almost time to change my Brita filter. It's been 2 months or 3 months. So things like that. I highly recommend this page to anyone who, has a hard time keeping track of the things that you need to do regularly. I love, love, love this spread. I don't know where I saw this, who I saw this from. I've been doing it for a long time. But if you were the original when did I last person, thank you, because this is an amazing spread, a useful one. Next, I have my fertility tracker, and I'm going to cover this up a little bit because it's kind of personal information. And so we're at the point in our lives where we're going to try to have kids soon. And so I've been, keeping track of certain things, my cycle, pain, intimacy, drinking, events like traveling and doctor's appointments, and then other miscellaneous things, like if I've taken a pregnancy test or where my temperature is at, because apparently that has something to do with it, which I don't even know yet because I'm not an expert just yet. But this is a very useful spread for me. I just want to start to build the habit of keeping track of all this information, although I'm not actually fertility tracking for realsies just yet. So eventually this will be a very useful spread. For now, I'm just forcing myself to get into the habit of using it. The next spread, which I use a lot more, again, covering information, but the one I use a lot more is this health tracker. I track my meditation, my workouts, how my skin's doing. I have eczema, so I often like to make sure that my, I like to track how my skin is and what medications I'm using on my skin. And I'm also tracking how I'm doing as a pescatarian / vegetarian / not doing a very good job. I did okay in December, and January I completely fell off. But it is something that I do care about and something that I do want to track. So that is something I am tracking in my health tracker. Of course, my vitamins in the morning and the evening, I take 2 different sets because my stomach cannot handle a full set in the morning. And then lastly, all the medications I take, if I do take any, like headache medication, stomach, whatever. And then if I take allergy pills, and I'm allergic to a lot, so I am very often taking allergy pills. So this is where I like to keep track of all of it. And I have been doing this for at least 2 years, the health tracker. It's changed a little bit of what's in there, but more or less, I love this spread. It helps me stay accountable to myself. Next, I have a book tracker. I'm not covering that up because I'd love to share what my books are, and I'd love to hear what books you guys are all reading. These are just the most recent ones that I've been working on that I'm either listening to on a podcast or are physically reading. So I like that. I get a lot of my recommendations from different places, whether it's just I found it somewhere, like at a bookstore, or somebody recommended it to me, or it's from someone else's book club. For example, Yoga with Adrienne's book club, or the Llama Loves Lettering book club, or somebody from, one of my podcasts recommended it. I like to, kind of have an idea of the kind of mindset I'm probably going to need to have in order to start when I start reading a book. Next is my build tracker. Very simple and straightforward. My 2020 moon phases. I read Lunar Abundance by Ezzy Spencer a really long time ago, and I love the idea of setting intentions around the moon. I am a moon child in so many ways, and so I really love that she kind of put planning and intentions and goal setting all in one with her Lunar Abundance book. And so I always keep track of the moon phases, and am reminded when I should be setting intentions and listening to how those intentions are going, kind of checking in. The next I have is my morning routine. I made this spread just so I could kind of figure out, like, what's my ideal situation. It's rare that this ever really happens, but this is kind of like, this is ideal. And I'm currently reading another book called Good Morning, Good Life by Amy Landino. And I feel like this is all going to shift. So right now, my earliest I would ever wake up is about 7 o'clock, but in reality, in her book, it's like 5. So shifting this all, to that early is the goal eventually, but this is like best case scenario. And then I have a little evening routine, same thing, like what would happen, or like what's the best way for me to wind down, because winding down in the evening is going to ultimately affect your morning. So I wanted to get that really, what's all the things I need to do to kind of prepare myself for the best night's sleep, which would in turn give me the best morning. And then this is an art supply list. Nothing on here right now because I've purchased most of the things that I really wanted to buy earlier this year. But I always have a running list. And so I wanted to make sure that I had a space to drop down things that I really, really needed. Or not, I don't really need art supplies, but things that I really want. And then a little section for coupon codes. I get so many emails all day, every day, and I really don't like to keep my inbox cluttered. So if there's a good coupon code that I feel like I want to keep, but I want to delete the email, or I get something on Instagram that, with a code or whatever, I like to throw those in here. And so, this is super useful. I have a whole, my last bullet journal, these were like completely filled. But yeah, it's the beginning of the year. I don't have that much, and I'm kind of on a no spend, so not a lot of stuff there. And then the last thing in the first part of my 2020 setup is this podcast tracker. I love podcasts. I listen to them all the time. I very rarely listen to the radio. But yeah, this is my podcast tracker. I listen to The Adult Chair, Don't Keep Your Day Job, Game Changers, Relationship Alive, the Rise podcast, The Uncurated Life, and Intentional. And these are some of, I think all of them are like self-help life books, podcasts. That's just what I really like right now. There was a point where I liked true crime and a little bit of like serial and stuff like that. Right now I'm in this, I need to get my stuff together. So, kind of listening to that stuff for a while. And that's the first part of my 2020 setup. The next section is all my monthlies, weeklies, and dailies, and kind of the juice of the planner. And so, we've got the December setup, and moving on to January, and so all the way up to the end of this week, or right here. And yeah, that is the big chunk of the planner. And the good thing about this planner is, I like to carry this around with me everywhere. So once a month is like 2 months away, I can pull out an entire section and put it in my other notebook, and then carry this around and kind of keep things that are most relevant and most useful to me in here. So another reason I really love this removable system with Filofax. And then this section here is for book clubs and just books I'm reading. I like to take notes on things. So this first one's for Good Morning, Good Life, which we're reading with Mama Loves Letters. And then the second section here is for a book club that I have with my husband. We're reading Designing Your Life right now and kind of working through all of the worksheets and stuff in there. So that's what this third section is for. And the last section is literally just scrap paper. You know, old lists, random things. What's back here? Oh, Tombow, you know, swatches and stuff. And that's about it. I threw this pen loop on myself. They do have a pen loop that you can purchase to come with it. I have yet to receive that in the mail. I just ordered it, so hopefully I'm getting that soon. But yeah, this guy I just got from Amazon, really simple. Just stick it onto the back. And then the pen that I have been using, I normally am a Zebra Sarasa 0.4 pen user. Like, I am absolutely obsessed. Let me see if I could find it. I am absolutely obsessed with the Zebra Sarasa, especially Grand line, this guy, and 0.4. But very recently I went to Muji and picked up this guy, and I really, really love it. It is 0.5. It's a little thicker than I'm used to, but I don't know, it's just so dang smooth, and I've been using this a lot lately with this guy. So this guy will just go right in there, and that is it. That is my 2020 bullet journal setup. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.